Alright, welcome back to the second to last episode, or second to last level in the game. This is Atlantis, and it is by far the toughest level in the game, um, just because of the sheer amount of crap that they throw at you. Um, so, in this opening room, you're gonna have this guy shooting fiery meatballs at you. Just jump back and hope that he doesn't shoot stuff at you. Or no, hope that he doesn't run after you, because I think they can do that. But if they're shooting meatballs at you, you should be a little better off. You should at least be able to jump forward and backwards. So you don't want to go too far down this room when you're fighting the second one, because this one will open up, and dealing with two of these guys at the same time is not fun. You generally want to fight these guys one-on-one, otherwise they'll overwhelm you, and especially if they start running around, that's when they become very dangerous, because Laura's fighting is not great. Your best bet is to be able to take down enemies from a distance. If they start running after you, you're going to have a much tougher time. So now, this level is quite disgusting looking. Also, I appear to have had some trouble picking up this one medipack. It's also kind of dark in this room, so I'm sorry if it's a little hard to tell what's going on. So essentially what this level is supposed to kind of invoke is a womb. I mean, that's essentially what this level is. It's the womb level. This is like the Binding of Isaac, once you've beaten Mom. Alright, so once you open that switch, or pull that switch, this one will show up. You generally don't want him to, like, actually land. You want to try and kill him before he can land. Also, I think those explosions can hurt you a little. Worst is when this guy shows up, because he becomes extremely annoying to deal with. Because Laura really doesn't have a lot of room to jump around. And oftentimes that happens, where you end up falling down onto the floor. Thankfully, I did have enough health that he falling down onto the floor didn't hurt me. So when you see those two things kind of moving, you more or less know that another one will show up, or will hatch from the egg pod, or whatever that thing is. Alright, so that is all the enemies in this room. You gotta fight 6 of those things in this room, and it doesn't slow down. Be prepared to fight a lot of Atlantean mutants in this level. So if you still, depending on, how much ammo you've picked up throughout the game, you should have more than enough to switch to a different weapon than the pistol. It's kind of up to you. If it's your first time and you've picked up a lot of the ammo, I would recommend trying, like, the magnums or something against these guys. Because it can speed things up and save more health. Alright, so there's another one in this room. That's the kind of an annoying thing about the flying guys is they're kind of... They like to avoid your gunfire, and Laura is not all-encompassing gunfire. Usually you can trap them in the hallways because they have trouble flying in, the hallway, and they don't get the idea to land and run after you instead. Alright, so hop down off that ledge, grab onto this one, and you're rewarded with some goodies. Large medipack, Uzis, and magnums. The last level is still difficult, but it's a lot less grunt fighting. There's, I think, outside of the two bosses that you fight in the last level, you have maybe like two of the Atlantean mutants that you have to deal with. In this level, though, I don't even know how many we have to fight because there's just so many. Probably a good, I mean, there were 6 in the first room. You pretty much fight one of those flying ones every time you go up a level in the room, because you might have noticed that that central room there is... We're going to be visiting that a lot. We're going to be visiting that at least 4 or 5 times. Okay, so you can probably see that little pod down there. Well, as you probably can guess, when we jump over to here and grab onto the ledge, it will awaken, as you just saw. And he is annoying because he likes to fly underneath the platform, so you can't get to him. You need to be very careful with your jumping in here, because it's pretty easy to accidentally jump or back up into the wrong direction and go right off the ledge. You don't have to kill this thing. This is really just if you want to get all the kills. You could just turn around and leave this area. There's nothing in here other than fighting him, just for the sake of, getting the kill. Yeah, usually you can bait those things out of landing if you go into like the little passages. Usually. Not always, but usually. Alright. Come into this room, pull the underwater lever. Now, I think you have to be kind of quick with this one. Because that lever is a timed lever. Now, as you can probably guess, there's going to be some boulders coming after us. Now, these ledges are kind of the bane of my existence in this level, because it's very easy to accidentally gimp your jump by by jumping too close to the lip of those ledges. Okay. That looks like some very hot lava behind those doors. I imagine that's going to come into play at some point. in between the previous episode and this episode, when I was recording this, I actually um well, no, never mind. But it was one of the levels, like the last level of Egypt. The right shoulder button on my controller kind of gave out. Um like the pad, the little membrane pad that they have underneath the shoulder button was going bad. So I had to go and get that replaced, and it was not fun. So if you're thinking maybe you could fall down in the hole where the boulder landed, you can't. There are spikes in there. So you don't want to do that. That that leads to death. So yeah, that right there. I got caught on the lip of the ledge. And the worst thing is when that happens and you end up still sliding down right into a spike pit. It's really fun, but I wouldn't recommend it. Alright, so we got some nice little goodies over here. Now, I think pulling that switch in that one alcove is what, like, changes these, um, or adds these little platforms up here. They're not here when you're first crossing. But pulling that switch releases all the lava in this room. Also moves these platforms over. Not sure how the platforms aren't melting in the lava, but I want to be. I'm trying to do some of the more fancier jumps, but I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to risk this. Because the worst thing is when you're right before a save crystal and you end up dying and get sent all the way back to the last save crystal. This level is okay on save crystals. Also, this is a very pathetic trap, but I'm sure someone has fallen into it before. I guess it's more for the people who are rushing and don't notice it. Trying to remember where the the underwater switch was. Lever. Bronk pulled the lever. Alright. So this trap won't go until you actually pass through it. As you can probably guess, there's one of those things flying above us. I'd recommend coming over to this side just because you don't really want to be fighting with that trap right behind you. Just in case you need to jump back for some reason. And there goes the there goes that guy. Now, I just wanted to take him out because of um the sort of lack of space that I had to work with. Okay. So this is another room filled with these pod things. I'm thinking a little ahead. We need to pull the second switch to our right before this one will blow up or release its thing. But before we do that, we should probably grab this little medipack down here before all hell breaks loose in this room. Now, this one kind of sucks because it's actually the pod closest to you. And yeah. God, I hate those things. They're absolutely annoying and terrifying. The best way to deal with this one, because he's flying, he, in this room in particular, the best way to deal with it is to kind of abuse their programming, because they'll only fly over, like, the solid platforms. They won't fly over the water at all. So you can kind of bait them into going to the other side if you jump across that that platform there. Same sort of deal with this, with the moving ones, although thankfully we managed to kill him before we fell into the water, because otherwise we would have been taking pod shots until we got out and could actually do something about him. Alright, so that one is starting to move as well, so when we get close to it, it will probably explode. Alright. One more door and one more gross monster to deal with. There we go. Alright. So now, you can do the save crystal at any point during that. I just wanted to take out the monsters before doing it, though, because I really didn't want to have to deal with them. Also, make sure to pick up these Uzis, because I don't think there's a way you can get back up here if you fall down. Without, you know, reloading the game, or reloading the save. Okay. So, similar to the last level with the boulder race, this is another sort of gamey moment within the game. So when you open that door, that boulder will come down from over there. Now, what you need to do is you need to pull this block out, and then push it right into this spot, so that you go back around and open the door again, the boulder will get stuck by this block, and you can get through. Again, kind of a gamey moment, but what are you going to do? It's an interesting puzzle, it makes you think. But, yeah. Alright. So, another platform, which means another flying demon to fight. They're technically Atlantean mutants. This kind of sucks. The worst is when they like fly like right over you, because Laura won't aim up at all, or whatever reason. I don't know, maybe she's worried that the bullets will, like, come back down and hit her in the head or something. Not that obviously that's not true. That can't happen. Okay. So I would recommend using this save crystal. I was just kind of taking a look to see what's in the room ahead. So avoid these guys for right now. Come over here and shoot him from this safe spot. They're not super difficult to take down, even with the pistols that are... It does take a little while, but... Let's see. I think you could see that we lost a little bit of health. Not very much, but yeah. The explosions, I believe, can hurt you. Which sucks. So that's kind of out of my control where they explode. Alright, now that we got all the items, yeah, there has to be at least like 20 to 25 of these guys in this level. In this one level. Okay. So, you might have enough time to, like, pick that up, but it's one of those few guys. Save at the last moment. Man, I genuinely don't like the flying ones. When they, like, start chasing you, they're aggressive as hell. But if he starts flying in the hallway, like if you're able to get back out to this side, you can at least... He'll usually start flying in the hallway, and that means that he's trapped. Which makes him a lot easier to kill. So that's definitely one of those sneak attack ones that kind of suck. There's really no notice for them, or for that one in particular. Alright. This one isn't as bad, in my opinion. Because you can clearly see him, like, show up. The other one just kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't know if he kind of just spawns when you get close or something. Or how that one works. This one's a little more obvious since he's coming out of the pod. You can hear one of them or two of them. I think there's two over there. At least in this version. So this is one of the ones that normally I would recommend jumping around trying to avoid their fire. Like once they start shooting at you, because eventually they will like stop running around and just start shooting at you. Especially if you get farther over to try and get a better shot. Now, you can jump around on this platform and be fine, but this is really not the area that I like to do that. I'd rather just take the hit, which, you know, sucks. I hate losing health because of bullcrap like this. But I would much rather lose a little bit of health, have to re-heal, than have to be jumping around and then accidentally fall into the lava and just die and have to be sent back and redo a bunch of stuff. because that's no fun. And especially in this level, it's very draining if you lose, if you die. These last couple levels in particular are very draining levels. Because there's so much crap they throw at you. That really is like the thing with the old school Tomb Raiders, because the old school Tomb Raiders are very much a trial and error type games. Um, so if you're in order to like learn where the screw ups are, um, you usually end up dying a lot, and that can become very draining, especially if you're not saving. And in the original game, you can't just save anywhere. You can only save at save crystals, assuming you're playing like the PS1 or the Saturn version. If you're playing the PC version, then that's a different story. Alright. Get up here. The game really wants you to start using Uzis, because they just give you so much in this level. This level and the last level in particular, they give you a lot of Uzis. Again, another Atlantean mutant. They only show up, like, only one shows up per level. We're probably, like, maybe 1 or 2 more levels away from the top, which you probably could see. I don't know if you can see the bottom at this point. I think we're too far away. But up. Alright. So pulling that switch will raise these 2 platforms. Now, I don't believe they're timed at all. I think you have enough time to just do them. I could be wrong on that. If they are timed platforms, you have quite a bit of time to do them. So just come over to this room, pull this switch, and that will raise a few more platforms. Actually ends up raising some on the other side. They do like hide a lot of the moving platforms and stuff. Cause it just looks really bad. Alright. So do a roll into that room, come all the way back here, and there are going to be 3 of these guys. Now, if you do this correctly, they should just waste their time shooting at the wall like that, and they won't be able to hit you. This is the easy way of killing them. I mean, you can go in there and fight all 3 of them, but that's... ugh. It's not very fun, and it's pretty painful. Because there's really not a lot of room for jumping around in here. come to this little side room. Apparently this is considered a secret. Alright. Okay, so yeah, as you can probably guess, what's going to happen when you pull the switch. Run, Laura, run! All you have to do is come to the very end of the hallway. It won't go all the way, though. Unfortunately, Laura is being very fickle, and not grabbing onto that platform, onto the platform above us. Okay. I think this might be one of the... He spawns in from... No? No. Okay, yeah, I think this might be one of the few spots where one doesn't show up. This is like the last spot before the final area. Please don't run, Laura. I'm being cautious because the game can do stuff like that. Where it likes to spawn an enemy. Okay, this one kind of sucks. Well, not this one. If you just keep jumping forward and backwards, you should be fine. The worst is if he, like, comes running at you. Alright, so this is where the game says, you know, she didn't fall for one of our traps. What if we throw all the traps at her? So what you need to do is you need to, like, get to this side. You might get hit by that poison dart. And the poison darts keep firing for some reason. But the crusher stops after the boulder passes by, so... Alright. Come on. Use the save crystal, Laura. Thank you. Okay, so from the way you come in, go to the block on your left and push it in twice. The other ones will just get stuck and you won't be able to get through. Alright, so as you can probably guess, what's going to happen when you pull this switch is that mysterious looking panel on the ground will open up. You want to do this and jump over the spikes. Up here, this will lead you back out into the main room. Just fall down and work your way back over. So, I don't think there's a reason to do this side at all, because that one just leads you right into a spike pit. I don't, like, view it at all, so I can't, like, tell you exactly why it's there other than to just be a trap. Alright. So, pick up your Uzis. And draw your guns, be ready, because when you get close to this thing, it will explode. There's no indication that he'll do that, so you kind of just got to be prepared for it. the reason why I kind of, like, ran right into him was because I messed up, but I was trying to, like, go backwards. Because I have dealt with this one a few times, and playing chicken didn't really help me. I was trying to play chicken, but I messed up. Alright, so pull this switch. You have two options here. You can either run for it, or you can stand and fight, and you'll probably take some damage. Because these guys are aggressive, and this... Here's the thing with dealing with these Atlantean mutants. Dealing with one is doable. Dealing with two at the same time sucks. Especially if they're both running around. Because you saw how much health I've had to replenish just to deal with them. But if this wasn't the PlayStation version, I'd say just run down here and do what you need to do. Down here, which is jumping up here and taking out these other two. So this is a room that you kind of got to be a little careful in, because there's something other than these two monsters running around. There's something over there. Well, we will take a look at it here in a second. As soon as we kill, this thing that's running around. Now, again, if you're on the PC version, or not the PS1 or Saturn versions, this is when I would recommend going up and taking out the other two. Like, you won't be able to get up there, but you can at least shoot them from down here. So, as you can probably guess, this thing is essentially a clone of Laura. It'll do everything that you do, moving around and all that fun stuff. If you try and shoot at it, it'll shoot at you, and it will die once you die. So, doesn't matter how many medipacks you use, it will die. There's only one way to kill it, and that's to lead it over to that trap door that we just opened up. Now, I screw up a couple too many times, so we gotta reset it. The trap door will close by the time we get back up there. So alright. Head to about that center tile. It'll fall into the lava pit that was under the trap door. Just, don't fall into it yourself. And that will unlock the door over there. And that's how you kill the doppelganger, or clone, or whatever you want to call her. Okay, this room kind of sucks. So, we're getting really close to the end here, but come over here. There is a way to get him to not be an obnoxious Douche. Jump out of the way, Laura. So I know there is a spot that you can stand where he'll shoot and it'll hit the ceiling, and that'll protect you from him. Unfortunately, I did not get into that spot, and he's ran away. So we gotta wait until he shows back up. He's dead. Okay, so we're not quite in the clear yet. There's still another enemy in this room. Go over to this side right about here, draw your weapons, and hopefully he should be firing at you. Since he's being blocked by the wall, you can kill him with impunity. Okay, so there are 2 switches in this room. One over on this side, as well as some more Uzis. I'd recommend pulling the switch on the other side first, because this switch really does the bridge. And the bridge, and these are timed, by the way. The bridge doesn't last as long as the door, because by the time I get over to the door, the bridge is coming down, or the door switch, I should say. The bridge times out, and then you have to just go back to the other side and pull the bridge switch again. So you can do all of it, plus pick up the Uzi clips at the same time, then great. Otherwise, you just have to do it twice. Or you have to make an extra trip. Which is it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But if you like optimization, then that's what you gotta do. Alright. Don't forget to pick up these Uzi clips on the ground. And, alright. Draw your pistols. Or, no, never mind. Don't bother with pistols. Just come up here, try to grab it. And we are treated to a cutscene.
For the flagrant misuse of your powers, and for robbing us of ours.
You can't,
breaking the 3 bond of consent that our people are ruled and secured under, and invading Teal'c and myself with our army, our warriors, empty from our pyramid, so that you can use the pyramid, its powers of creation, for your own mindless destruction.
Mindless? Look at you! Neither of you have 1 squirt of inventive juice in your heads. Wasters.
Let's
Snap.
just do it.
Tehokan!
You use the sacramental place as a source of individual pleasure. As some freak factory.
They're survivalists, a new generation.
A slaughter heap now. And we're gonna lock you in limbo. Make your veins, heart, feet, and that diseased brain stick solid with frozen blood. Greet your eternal unrest, Natla!
You won't rest either, or your damned continent death.
Alright, and she gets frozen in carbonite, and shipped off to Jabba the Hutt, in New Mexico, where she's unearthed at the start of the game. Alright. And I think we get treated to one more little cutscene before the level is technically over. This is definitely the level, or the area that you get the most cutscenes in.
Evolution's in a rut, natural selection at an all-time low. Shipping out fresh meat will incite territorial rages again. Will strengthen and advance us. Even create new breeds.
Kind of evolution on steroids, then.
A kick in the pants. Those runts Qualopec and Tehocan had no idea. The cataclysm of Atlantis struck a race of langering wimps. Plummeted them to the very basics of survival again. It shouldn't happen like that.
Or like this.
Hatching commences in 15 seconds.
Too late for abortions now.
I was kind of considering removing that line under the current political situation in America, but you know what? No. I mean, this is a more than good enough reason for an abortion. You'll see in the next episode. All right. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.